Excuse you. Whatever.
Have they said anything about it yet?
About running away from the Jones compound? Nope, not a word.
They're probably afraid we'll make them go back or something.
Remember how scared we were when we ran away from that place? We didn't trust anyone.
Damn, 18 years ago. It's like we were two different people back then.
We were different. We were brainwashed by that nutcase Jeremiah.
I mean, at least we had each other.
This scene between Autum and Sincerre serves as one of the most thematically revealing moments in the narrative, shifting the focus away from immediate encounters and toward reflection, memory, and the uneasy moral terrain that underpins their actions, ultimately reframing the story as not simply about rescue or connection, but about the complicated afterlives of survival and the ways women attempt to make sense of their own past through the lives of others. The conversation opens with a tone that feels almost casual, even slightly playful, yet quickly deepens into something far more introspective as the two women begin discussing the young runaways they have encountered, and more importantly, what those girls represent. The mention of the Jones compound introduces a shared history that binds Autum and Sincerre together, revealing that their relationship is rooted not just in present-day partnership, but in a formative experience of escape from a controlling and manipulative environment. This revelation reframes their dynamic entirely, positioning them not merely as authority figures or caretakers, but as survivors whose understanding of intimacy, trust, and autonomy has been profoundly shaped by trauma. Their recollection of their younger selves, fearful, distrustful, and fundamentally altered by their experiences, creates a poignant parallel with the girls they now encounter, suggesting that what draws them to these young women is not only desire for connection, but also a recognition of their own past vulnerabilities. From a queer perspective, this dynamic resonates deeply with the ways in which chosen family and mentorship often emerge within LGBTQ+ communities, particularly among those who have experienced rejection or harm in more traditional structures. The idea that at least we had each other underscores the importance of relational bonds in surviving oppressive systems, highlighting how connection between women can function as both refuge and resistance. Yet the scene complicates this narrative by introducing a note of self-doubt, as Sincerre questions whether their current actions truly align with the values that once helped them escape. This moment of moral uncertainty is crucial, as it disrupts any simplistic framing of their behavior as purely benevolent, instead inviting the audience to consider the ways in which cycles of power can be perpetuated even by those who have previously been subjected to them. The suggestion that the two young women they have encountered can't stand each other contrasts sharply with Autum and Sincerre's own history of mutual reliance, raising questions about what conditions are necessary for meaningful connection to develop, and whether such connections can be fostered or must emerge organically. This observation also reflects a broader cultural tendency to romanticize certain forms of intimacy while overlooking others, particularly when it comes to relationships between women, which are often expected to conform to ideals of harmony and emotional alignment. By acknowledging the possibility of conflict and disconnection, the scene allows for a more nuanced understanding of relational dynamics, one that recognizes the diversity of experiences within queer communities. The discussion of Jeremiah, the cult leader, introduces a darker layer to the narrative, emphasizing the lingering influence of coercive authority and the ways in which it can shape perceptions of self and others long after one has physically escaped. The speculation about his preferences and the dynamics within the compound is handled in a way that underscores the dehumanizing nature of such environments, where individuals are reduced to roles and hierarchies that serve the needs of those in power. This context is essential for understanding the emotional stakes of Autum and Sincerre's actions, as it highlights the tension between their desire to help and the risk of replicating similar patterns of control, even unintentionally. Sincerre's question, whether it is wrong not to tell the girls that they know the truth about their past, introduces a key ethical dilemma, one that speaks to the complexities of transparency, consent, and agency within relationships. On one hand, withholding this information can be seen as a way of protecting the girls from further fear or distress, allowing them to maintain a sense of autonomy over their own narratives. On the other hand, it raises concerns about manipulation and the extent to which informed choice is possible when critical information is deliberately concealed. This tension is emblematic of a broader challenge faced by many women, particularly in caregiving or mentorship roles, where the line between guidance and control can become blurred. Autumn's response, suggesting that their encounters are a matter of chance even as they deliberately seek out individuals in vulnerable situations, further complicates the moral landscape, revealing a dissonance between intention and action that is both human and deeply unsettling. The assertion that we're not doing anything wrong, followed by Sincerre's stark counterpoint that sometimes I think we're no better than he is, marks the emotional climax of the scene, bringing into sharp focus the central question of whether survival and good intentions are sufficient to justify actions that may compromise the autonomy of others. This moment is particularly powerful because it resists easy resolution, instead leaving the tension unresolved and inviting the audience to sit with the discomfort of that ambiguity. Within a queer analytical framework, this exchange can be understood as a reflection on the ways in which marginalized individuals navigate systems of power, often finding themselves in positions where they must reconcile their own experiences of oppression with the realities of their current roles. It challenges the notion that being part of a marginalized group inherently confers moral clarity, instead emphasizing the importance of ongoing self-reflection and accountability. The emotional undercurrent of the scene is shaped not only by the content of the dialogue, but also by what remains unsaid, the pauses and hesitations that reveal the depth of the character's internal conflicts. Autumn's sharp reaction to Sincerre's comparison suggests both defensiveness and fear, as if acknowledging the possibility of similarity would undermine the narrative they have constructed about themselves as helpers rather than harmers. This reaction highlights the psychological need to maintain a coherent sense of identity, particularly for individuals who have endured significant trauma, and the difficulty of integrating conflicting aspects of one's behavior into that identity. For viewers, this dynamic offers a point of entry into a broader reflection on the ways in which people justify their actions, the stories they tell themselves, in order to reconcile intention with impact. Beyond its immediate narrative function, the scene also speaks to larger cultural patterns in the representation of women's relationships, particularly in the context of queer storytelling. By foregrounding moral ambiguity, emotional complexity, and the interplay of care and control, it challenges reductive portrayals that either idealize or demonize connections between women. Instead, it presents these relationships as sites of negotiation and growth, shaped by both personal history and social context. This approach aligns with a growing body of work that seeks to depict queer experiences with greater nuance and authenticity, acknowledging the diversity of ways in which women come to understand themselves and each other. At the same time, the themes explored in this scene are not limited to queer audiences, but resonate more broadly with anyone who has grappled with questions of responsibility, intention, and the impact of their actions on others. The idea that individuals may inadvertently replicate patterns they once sought to escape is a powerful and often uncomfortable truth, one that underscores the importance of self-awareness and critical reflection in the pursuit of meaningful connection. Ultimately, this scene functions as a pivotal moment of introspection within the film, shifting the focus from external events to internal reckoning and inviting viewers to consider the ethical dimensions of care, the complexities of intimacy, and the ongoing process of becoming visible to oneself and others in a world where the lines between protection and control are not always clearly defined.